The next Mythic banner is here, and again as a reminder, Mythic banners are tagging out with legendary banners every month. This time we have our third Mythic hero and an insane lineup for this banner. As always, the starting 5-star focus rate is set to 8% and the non-focus 5-star rate is gone, so if you do get a 5-star unit, it is guaranteed to be one of these 12 heroes. These monthly banners are great if you want any 5-star hero, but trying to get a specific one will be tough. That's why in this video I will cover all the units here and what they have to offer for skill inheritance, so you can better decide on what colors to pull on. Let's start off with our newest Mythic hero. So Mythic Yune is here, and she is the Goddess of Chaos from Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn. If you've played Radiant Dawn in English like I have, they pronounced Yune as Yune, and that's what I've always called her, but since the Makai in this game pronounces it as Yune, I'll try to stick with that. So to discuss Yune as a unit, she is being represented as a green flying mage. Feels like we just got one, but that's alright because they are still quite rare as a class type. Yune is the first Dark Mythic hero and as such grants reduced lift loss for when you lose Aether Raid defenses. As a reminder, that lift reduction did get buffed a little bit. Also, this means players with Yune and Duma will be able to always have a Mythic hero ready for when the element changes. For her Dark Blessing bonus, it looks like Yune is granting extra speed, which is nice. So since this video is being made before the banner's launch, I don't have the confirmed stats for Yune just yet, but we have some really big clues based on her base kit. Starting off, she has Glacies as her special. Glacies deals more damage the higher a unit res stat is, and Yune also has attack and res bond as her A skill. Nothing really crazy just yet, but you can bet Yune will have at least a somewhat good base resistance. Yune's unique weapon is Chaos Manifest, a 14 might tome, in air quotes, that grants +3 flat resistance. Its effect is that if a penalty or negative status effect is active on a foe, Yune gets +6 attack during combat, and she makes a guaranteed follow-up attack. Oh boy, so that is a lot of firepower, and Yune is looking like a dangerous attacker already. This is a very similar effect to Hurid's unique sword, and the +6 attack is getting double the value since she'll be attacking twice. Now because she gets a guaranteed follow-up ability, I do suspect Yune may not be a high-speed green mage. She may sacrifice some or all of her speed to have an insane res stat, and since we already have 2 speedy green mage flyers, I'd be okay seeing a different type of playstyle. Yune does need to get a debuff on her enemies to be at her strongest, but she has some incredible tools to do so. Her unique C skill, called Chaos Named, is a bit confusing, so let's break it down. At the start of the turn, if foes within 3 columns centered on Yune have 3 less resistance than Yune, she inflicts -5 on their highest stat through their next actions. For this calculation, we are subtracting -15 from the foe's attack stat, and this is because attack includes weapon might and usually ends up being the unit's highest stat besides HP. Basically, Chaos Named is a 3-column ploy that hits a foe's best stat. So in this example setup, just want to make sure we understand that 3 columns centered on Yune looks like this, if you imagine Micaiah taking Yune's spot. We'll also just use my Micaiah's 42 res for this calculation, again just an example. So first up, female Kana is in range, and we can see that she only has 24 resistance. We make sure to subtract 15 from her attack stat, and we can see her highest stat now is her speed stat at 32. This means female Kana gets a -5 speed debuff. Same deal for Leon, his resistance is not high enough to escape from Chaos Named, and his highest stat is his 31 defense. Leon receives a -5 defense debuff. Last, we have La Rochelle. This time, even with the -15 attack included, La Rochelle's highest stat is still her attack, so in this case, she gets a -5 attack debuff. So Chaos Named is pretty darn crazy and a bit confusing since it's applying different debuffs to different units potentially. With these debuffs active, that's enough to activate Chaos Manifest, so Yune would get +6 attack and that guaranteed follow-up. Since Yune is supposedly strong for Aether Raids, she'll be quite annoying since the maps are mainly vertical and to approach her will be tough. Leaving a unit to tank her attacks will also be scary, so I can see her being a good unit to have for defense. Despite a pretty crazy C skill, the Goddess of Chaos isn't done yet. Yune introduces Sabotage Res. At the start of a turn, if any foe has 3 less res than the unit and they are adjacent to another foe, inflict -7 resistance on that enemy. Sabotage skills have global range, but you do need the enemies to meet 2 activation conditions. Again, Yune will probably have really high base resistance, so I would expect her to have an easy time meeting the res check. If Chaos Named can't reach a certain enemy, then Sabotage Res might be able to apply a debuff, so Yune can use Chaos Manifest at its full strength. Again, another good Aether Raid skill depending on how tight the map space is. If Yune applies Sabotage Res, she will gain so much damage on an enemy since they lose -7 resistance and she gains +6 attack plus doubles. It's a pretty darn good combo. So overall, I think Yune is looking like a solid unit. She will probably play a bit differently than most units if she is really slow, but if you have a team of debuffs, she will absolutely wreak havoc. Actually, a team with Yune and Harid sounds really good since you have so many debuffs on the field and both of them can benefit from each other's abilities. In terms of aesthetics, her weapon animation is amazing and her kit synergizes all around with itself. Let me know your thoughts on Yune so far in the comments, and will you be trying to summon for her? Alongside Yune, we have 11 other heroes to get, and man, this is one of the best lineups we've had ever. For red, we have Legendary Ryoma, Brave Celica, and Halloween Mer. Blue has the 8th raid squad of Legendary Azura, Legendary Lucina, and Ophelia. Green has Yune, Lewin, and Halloween Kagero. For colorless, Air returns and brings along Brave Lyn, plus Halloween Mia. I don't know if it was on purpose, but this banner is ridiculously stacked if you want some strong 8th raids units. We'll talk about every unit here briefly, and I'll cover what skills you want to inherit from them if you get some extra copies. Starting with the red group, we have Legendary Ryoma. He is a flying sword unit who is incredibly fast with 39 base speed, plus a solid attack stat too. Argento has distant counter, but with his low res and innate weakness to arrows, I honestly don't think it's a great fit for this Ryoma. However, Bushido adds plus 10 damage on special procs, and since flyers can't learn Wrath, he has a neat niche, especially if you go with the Fire Sweep Sword build. Kestrel stance is okay but not that amazing, and guidance is pretty hard to get for the Seesaw still. If you want a high offensive flyer, Legendary Ryoma is a solid pickup. Brave Celica is another fast sword user but is an infantry unit. Her Royal Sword grants special cooldown charge +1 when near allies, and her double line B skill is very strong, turning her attacks into brave attacks when initiating. This means she can quad attack, but it only works at full HP. She has strong initiations, and Death Blow 4 adds +8 attack for every hit, so Celica can rack up damage very quickly. Attack Tactic and Gale Force are both good skills, but if you use Celica for skill fodder, you definitely want Death Blow 4, since now you can inherit all 4 levels at once. Halloween Mer is a beefy armored red dragon with high everything except for speed. That's okay though, because her Spirit Breath weapon gives her a follow-up attack when she initiates if she has 5 more defense than her enemy. With a starting 40 base defense, Mer can achieve this pretty easily, plus she has Vengeful Fighter to cover her enemy phase. I'd probably only inherit Vengeful Fighter or Armor March if you don't need Mer, but if you need a scary red army unit, she is a very good choice too. Our blue group is pretty crazy this time. Legendary Azura is probably the best dancer in the game because of her unique skills. Prayer Wheel spreads the highest stat buff on a unit to all their stats when she dances them, with Attack Tactic granting +6 attack. If Azura dances an ally, she can give them +6 to all stats, which is just insane. Also, her unique dance called Grey Waves allows infantry or flying allies to move in extra space after Azura dances them. This is a super annoying ability and makes her one of the most dangerous dancers you'll have to face. With B dual flying, this allows blue flyers to score better in arena, and with aerobatics, Azura can move around her non-flying teammates better. She is an incredibly good unit and definitely a must-have dancer. For Legendary Lucina, she is an annoying enemy to face. She is a infantry blue archer, and her Thogan bow grants +4 to all stats when fighting melee enemies. With Swift Sparrow, Lucina can hit surprisingly hard, and she has Wings of Mercy to fly in too. Her unique skill, Future Vision, makes Lucina so unpredictable because it allows her to swap with an ally, and then she gets to move again. This ability is very annoying to face, and with her decent damage output, she can take out unsuspecting allies. Another really good unit, and if you want a decent skill from her, she also has Distant Guard, which provides allies with extra defenses versus ranged threats. Last, we have Ophelia, who is one of my favorite units. She is a high damage blue mage, and with 37 base attack, she is not messing around. Her Mistletoe Tome gives her extra cooldown reduction on turn 1 for every mage on the team, plus it permanently reduces special cooldown by -1 like a slaying weapon. This ability allows Ophelia to get instant specials, and she can unleash them on the get-go. Rally Up Attack is a nice rally skill that has an area effect range, so that's quite good to inherit. Sturdy Blow is alright, granting +4 attack and defense, and Chill Res is good for a mage since it debuffs the enemy with the highest res stat. One of Ophelia's strongest builds utilizes Special Spiral, and Lewin, who has the skill, is also on this banner. That means it's a great time to try and pull if you want to build Ophelia. Overall, blue is incredibly stacked. Everyone here is top tier for 8th raids, with Azura and Lucina being annoyingly unpredictable, and Ophelia being able to nuke almost anything out of existence. This is a fantastic color to pull. We've already discussed Yune, so there's not much else to say. Attack and Res Bond is good, but you might as well use Yune for the new Sabotage Res skill. It's great for high res units, especially if they deal magical damage. Next we have Lewin, who is a green infantry mage. He is a very strong mage because his Forsetti tome allows him to make his follow-ups before the enemy can counter. That means if Lewin gets a double, say through outspeeding his enemy, he gets to attack twice in a row when initiating, and he can do this at full HP. With his already good speed plus Swift Sparrow, he can easily attack twice while remaining untouched. He also has Special Spiral, which gives him -2 cooldown after battle if his special procs. 2 attacks in a row plus a special 2 is a lot of damage. I would say Special Spiral is one of the crazier skills of the game, and it allows you to create some insane builds that aren't possible otherwise. As for Odd Attack Wave, this grants the user and adjacent allies +6 attack every odd numbered turn. It's a great buffing ability and self-buffs the user too. Lewin is a solid unit, plus has some of the best fodder skills too. Last we have Halloween Kagado, who is the only green armored dagger unit. She has an incredible 38 base attack plus bold fighter, so she is incredibly strong on offense. Her bottle juice dagger is really good because it has the guard effect with no HP requirement. It may not be the best for a bold fighter build, but for a defensive setup it's a super strong weapon. Mirror Stance grants +4 attack and res when initiating, which is fine to keep, and Kagado has even attack wave, which is just like odd attack wave except for even number turns. Overall, if you want to get the new Mythic Yune, I think it's a good time to do so. If you get Lewin, you get a great mage or special spiral fodder, and Kagado is a pretty unique unit, plus you can always use her for bold fighter, even attack wave, or her dagger. Green is definitely a good group this time too. Our colorless group also comes with some top tier units. Air is back, so if you're a big Aether Raids fan, you're going to want more copies of her. If you're a new player, everyone gets a free Air by starting book 3, and she is quite good as a flying dagger unit. She can deal good damage with her unique dagger that grants attack and speed, plus Swift Sparrow adds even more on the initiations. Mystic Boost is still only found on Air and can create some interesting setups since it heals after every fight. With her unique skill Sparkling Boost, Air can help heal allies every turn. Still a good unit, and the merges are worthwhile for Aether Raid scoring. Next we have Brave Lyn, who hasn't really stopped being a fantastic unit. She has immense range as a cavalry archer, and her Sake's Blessing stops this encounter. Willow Gear helps stop enemy field buffs, and with Swift Sparrow, she's another strong attacker. One of the best units for all aspects of the game. If you still don't have Brave Lyn, here's another shot to get her. Last we have Halloween Mia, who is quite a good flying healer, mainly because of her weapon. The Witchy Wand is incredibly powerful because it can reset special cooldowns, which hilariously counters all these special spamming skills we have in the game. Mia is a great user of it, but any healer can use it to good effect, and you can just give it the Dazzling Staff Refined to freely attack enemies to reset their specials. If you want some other good skills, Mia also has Speed and Res Bond, and the ever popular Honed Flyers. Now not as rare, it's still not as easy to get as other Emblem buffs, but it's a very strong buffing skill to have. Overall, colorless isn't bad at all. Air is very useful, and Brave Lyn continues to be a powerhouse unit for PvE content. As for Mia, she is a rare class type, plus the Witchy Wand is insanely good and one of a kind still. That about wraps things up for this Mythic banner. Will you be summoning this time around, and who are you going to be trying to get? For me, I've been saving up on orbs, so I am definitely looking to try and get someone from here. Probably just going to be going for greens and blues since I could use everyone in those groups. Thanks for watching, good luck on your summons, and I'll see you guys in the next video.